Hello everyone, welcome back to the channel, Retro YuGiOh here, and today we have a Yu-Gi-Oh! Tier list. Last time we did the top decks of the format. Today we're doing the top hand traps of the format. As you can see here, we have a tier list on screen. Tier list on screen, right here, there. And as following, we have this following categories and tiers for our hand traps. So we have main deck staple. These will be hand traps that are just staple and should be standard in almost every single deck. Then we have main or side. These will be hand traps that you could play in the main if you choose to, but if you aren't playing them in the main, you're definitely putting them in the side deck. Main deck only. These are hand traps which you would either only play in your main deck or not at all. So if you are looking to play extra hand traps, this is probably the category that you would go to. Side deck only. These are hand traps where you would never put them in the main. They are too matchup specific, but you may consider using them in your side deck. And then, of course, there we have don't play. These are the you don't play them. Ooh, they almost made me throw up. And if you play them in your side deck, you might throw up as well. So without further ado, let's get into the list. Put some music on there? Okay. And let's get started. First up, we have Ghost Reaper and Winter Cherries. This is a side deck only. It is very matchup specific. You maybe want to play this in your Vanquish Soul side deck because you can take out the Link 1 in the mirror match. Maybe if you're playing purely, you'd want to side deck it there. But other than that, it's not really a very good option. It's very niche in the situational, what you want to do, but again, it's not a terrible side deck, but you would never main deck it. It is a side deck only, and not even a staple at that. Next, we have Bestials. The Bestial monsters. These are what I would say almost main deck staples. But if you're not, because they're not every deck would want to use them, but they're good against everything. So if you're not putting them in your main, you're absolutely putting them in your side. They're good against Math Mech. They're good against Sprite. They're good against everything in the format. Labyrinth. Everything. Math Mech. Joshua Schmidt is cooming right now. Just, you absolutely should play Bestials. And if you're playing Dragon Link or Branded, you'll have them in the main deck. Contact C is a side deck only. There are just so many better options than Contact C. So, yeah. While it might be okay versus Branded or some other niche interactions, there's a lot better options. If you're considering it, play it in the side deck, but otherwise not at all. DD Crow, side deck only. DD Crow is like the worst version of the Bestials. It is also like a worse version of Ghost Bell. Now, it can be good in certain matchups, like if you're expecting a lot of Purely or another deck where you don't want to banish just monsters, or you don't need to just affect the monsters. This card can affect anything in the grave, so it's got some utility there, but again, side deck only. You really wouldn't want to play it in the main or side. Ghost Sister and Spooky Dogwood. Don't play it. You're not, if you're playing this, you're a free win, my man. Ghost Ogre. I would say Ghost Ogre right now is a main deck only option. You really don't want this card in the side deck. It's not good enough to be in your side deck and side in. However, I would say that it's not a main deck staple. You definitely don't want to consider it main or side. And it's not really where it needs to be as a side deck option. So, main deck only, that's really where it belongs. But, yeah, if you're just looking for extra hand traps, here is where it would be. Same thing with Effect Veiler. Effect Veiler is not a main deck staple, and you're definitely not going to play it in the side. But I would say it's a main deck only option, and it's really just like those extra filler spots. Oh, I need some more hand traps in this deck? Let me look here. Veiler, Ogre, those are the ones. Lancia. Side deck only, bro. If you feel like Lancia is necessary, okay, maybe it's good versus, like, say, if your deck loses to evenly match and you don't have negation, or maybe you want to side up for Cash Tira. But again, there are much better options than Lancia. However, it is a side deck only option if you were choosing to play it at all. Otherwise, it could even be argued in don't play. Shifter. If you can play Shifter, it is a staple main deck option. It's even better than main or side. If you can play Shifter, absolutely main deck it. It is just it almost just turns the whole game around. So just play Shifter in your main deck if you're playing it at all. I would not side deck it. Main deck 100%. Retaliating Sea. This is probably like one of the better ones in side deck only. It's not good enough in any of these ones. Like, it's definitely not a main only. You probably wouldn't choose main or side. It would be side deck only. It has some decent interactions, but again, it's not one of those cards which really hinders your opponent. Now, against Purely, it's actually not bad, but I don't really think too much of Purely right now. However, it's not bad versus branded. It's not great versus branded. So again, I would probably opt into the side deck only, and you probably shouldn't be choosing this as a option if there are better options available. But it's not a bad one. Ash Blossom. The best hand trap that we've ever had in the form since existence. It'll hit everything in some capacity. It's not super impactful, although it is very, very good. And it is essentially just a staple in your main. There is no reason not to play. Draw and Lock. Draw and Lock, I was having a little bit of trouble deciding where to put it. And I think I'm going to put it main or side. I still think Droll is strong enough, especially with Vanquish Soul and some super heavy Samurai decks are actually being played and can do pretty disgusting combos. I think Droll is one of those cards you can choose to main. And if you don't want to main it, you probably should side it. And if you don't play it at all, it's not actually terrible. But if you're going to play it, I'd say main or side. It's good in either option. Phantasme. Fantastical Dragon Phantasme. There's not enough Link decks right now. So it is very, very, very matchup specific. It is a side deck only. You definitely wouldn't want to main it. And if you're not playing main, if you're not choosing to main it, you wouldn't play it. It's not a main or side. It is not good in the main deck right now. It's definitely not a main deck stable. So side deck only. Infinite Impermanence. Probably another one of the best hand traps in the format. It's one of the in fact it is the only. It is no, actually it's one of the only hand traps. Whoopsie. On this list that does not trigger Triple Tactics Talent. So by that definition, it makes it already very good. It is kind of like a better version of Veiler because it can be used at any point in the game. So yeah, I would say this is just an absolute main deck staple. It doesn't really cost you anything. It's pretty much a staple in every deck you'd see. Just in some capacity, Infinite Impermanence is such a great card. Ghost Bell and Haunted Mansion. Main or side. It's actually quite good in this format. It's good versus branded, so I can stop the Sanctifier Dragon. It's also good versus Math Mech, obviously. Stops Super Factorial. It's in Vanquish Soul, you can use it as another utility to help you search. In decks like Cash Tira and Vanquish Soul, which have 7s, you can normal summon it to make it as a level 3 tuner and make Baron. So that's really good. So just overall, Ghost Bell and Haunted Mansion is actually quite useful. It's also good versus Labyrinth. I think I forgot to mention that one. But yeah, it can affect a big Welcome Labyrinth because that summons from Grave. So just overall, very, very good card. YuGiOh Material. Probably didn't even know this card existed. And there's a reason for that. It sucks. It don't play. Ghost Mourner. Ghost Mourner, it's one of those cards I would say is a option to main deck if you're wanting more hand traps. It's more of a get less of filler options, but if you don't main it, you would not play it. Yeah, so if you don't main Mourner, you probably wouldn't play it at all. It's one of those cards that it's okay, but again, I wouldn't say you need to play it. But again, it's a filler spot. If you choose to play it in your main deck, that's okay. But if you don't main it, you're not playing it at all. So it's main only. Skullmeister. While this card actually might have utility, we didn't use it in tier limit format, a format based around graveyard effects. If it's not good there, it's almost never going to be good. I do say almost, because almost is to the end of time. So, but right now, just don't play it. Chaos Hunter. Another card that is okay. It's more or less in the same category as Lancia. But I think this has more utility just because Chaos Hunter would stop all your opponent's runic cards permanently and they have no out to it. It's also good against Cash Tira. But it's side deck only. Like, it's not a staple. There are better options, like whatever. Like, there's so many better options in terms of what actually would help you win games, where Chaos Hunter is so much more niche. But again, it's still useful enough to be able to be used. But again, you would not choose to main deck it. It's side deck sometimes. We left for last. Token Collector. If Adventure decks or another token-based archetype or support comes out, Token Collector could be better. But for now, do not play. Nibiru, main or side. I mean, there's memes on this card. Nibiru, the giant rock, smash mash, giant blah blah blah. Ooh, summon number 4. Are you gonna summon for number 5? But yeah, Nibiru is it's a main or side deck staple. You're gonna play it. Let's just go to the decipherings. Okay, so Gamma, as at 1 and don't play it. Then we have Delta and Epsilon. So Gamma stops monsters, Delta stops spells, Epsilon stops traps. Gamma is terrible. They're all pretty terrible right now. However, if you decide to side deck Epsilon for, say, Labyrinth, or you decide to side deck Epsilon for Runic, that automatically would... Oh, not Delta. Delta or Epsilon for... What should we call... So this one for like Runic ones, which is Delta. This one for traps, which is Epsilon. Then Gamma becomes a staple. However, if you do not decide to side deck either of these two options, then Gamma is just a do not play along with the rest of them. Don't play them. Cycle Reader. There are no light decks that are relevant in the format right now that need the graveyard. So, yeah, we just don't play Cycle Reader at all. It's bad. Same with Flying Sea. It only stops you from Exceed summoning. This was the greatest card in 2014. In 2015, it was not good anymore. So, yeah, just don't play it. Just choose something else. Anything else, please. Sword Soul Iris. It's a reason you probably don't know what this card does. It's not good. It's just not good. And lastly, Saravis. So Saravis, the Ancient and Ascended. Some people may or may not know it, but for those who do not know it, I'm just going to read the effect of this card. So it's a quick effect discard, and it doesn't need to go to the grave. So it goes, when your opponent activates a card or effect that targets a monster you control, quick effect, you can discard this card for cost, negate the activation. That's the hand trap effect. That's the only one that's relevant to what we're looking at here. If you're playing a deck like Kashtira, where your opponent's probably going to activate Book of Moons, your opponent's probably going to have Infinite Impermanence, right? Enemy control. All these one-for-one targeting spot removal, like Change of Heart, Mind Control. Saravis could be used as additional protection in addition to, say, something like Forbidden Lands. So it has some utility to side. Overall, I wouldn't say it's necessarily a good enough card. I think there are better options to side. But if you are thinking about it, Saravis is one of those cards you can consider. So guys, that's the tier list here for the day. I hope you enjoyed it. If you have any questions, let me know down in the comments below. I'd love to hear your opinions. Was this your list? Would you change anything on this list? Let me know. I really want to find out. But this is just my opinion for the June 2023 format before Nationals come into effect. So that's it. I'm Retro YuGiOh. I'll see you next time. Peace.